What's going on, guys? Just doing a quick video on all the action from week 4. Looking ahead to tomorrow night's game, Raiders and Chiefs. Remember, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Very much appreciated. Couldn't do this without you guys. Also, look back in previous videos. Still working on my playlist. Working on stringing together highlights and stuff and making better videos. Almost there. Hopefully by this weekend. We'll see. But anyway, this is what we learned from week 4 in the NFL. Number 1, Broncos versus Raiders. Raiders aren't a bad 0-3 team. If there is such a thing as a good 0-3 team, it's the Raiders. They've only lost by 1 score in their 3 losses. And their loss against the Cardinals, I just, bad game management by the coaches. Unwillingness or unableness to make adjustments. Yeah. What we learned about the Broncos. Overrated, minus their defense. Defense is even better than last year, if that's possible. Offense is horrible. Now, I say that to say this. The Broncos' offense can get better, and probably will. How much better, I don't know. Russell Wilson does not look like the same guy. Nick Wright mentioned that he looks washed up. It looks like they're stuck with him. He's not the same Russ. We will see. I'm not going to count him out yet. They are 2-2, I believe. Or 3-1, one of the two. I think they're 2-2. Yeah, because they lost to the Raiders. So they're 2-2. They're 500. I didn't pick them to win the division. I believe I picked the Chiefs or the Raiders. But I did not pick the Broncos. It takes time to build chemistry. The coach is an absolute mess. I don't know if Nathaniel Hackett will figure it out or not. I hope he does. But he might not. Chiefs, Buccaneers. The Chiefs' defense isn't all-world defense. It's not the Cowboys' defense. It's not, the Packers' defense. It's not a great defense. It's okay. Could get better. Is average, maybe a little below. The Bucs still scored 31 points. Brady had 300-something yards. Chiefs' defense ain't going to win them a lot of games. But their offense is good enough to win them games. The Buccaneers' offense needs to get healthy. And the defense, really, for the Buccaneers, I don't know what they were thinking, rushing 3 and dropping big defensive linemen back into coverage. I'm not sure what that game plan was about, but their defense has been stout, allowing, I believe, under 17 points a game up until the Chiefs. Then they just seemed to change the game plan, and it just seemed like a dumb game plan to me. I don't know what was going on. Todd Bowles is a great defensive mind. Not sure what happened there, but they need to fix that and go back to what they were doing, which is what was working. Because they got some stud defensive linemen that are very young. Take advantage of that before you have to pay them a lot of money. Take advantage of it. You got young corners, young safeties. Take advantage of that. Please, take advantage of that. The Chiefs, their offense is starting to get on track. Their defense, if George Karlaftis and company can get a little more going, maybe they get a lot better. But Brady still dropped 31 on you. Yeah, not the greatest defense. And he's without a lot of his weapons. So, they're both still good teams, even though the Buccaneers are 2-2, Chiefs 3-1. The Buccaneers are still in the middle of it. It's the NFC. It's not very strong. So I wouldn't count the Buccaneers or Chiefs out. You could very well see them in this year's Super Bowl. Rams, 49ers. Rams are in trouble. They're 2-2. The Rams, Stafford hasn't looked great. The offensive line misses Andrew Whitworth. The defense misses everybody. This is what happens. F them picks catches up with you. It's fine to trade some picks here and there, but trading all your first rounders and all, you could have had stars. You could have had cornerstones. You trade for these big-time players. Some of them older. Jalen Ramsey getting into his late 20s now. Aaron Donald getting into his late 20s. Matt Stafford in his mid-30s. Cooper Kupp getting in his late 20s. You only got so much time in the NFL. That's what it stands for. Not for long. I think the Rams will be okay in that division. It is what it is. In that division, I mean, anybody can win that division at this point except Seattle. Yeah, they beat the Falcons, but that doesn't tell me much. The 49ers, they're better this year with Jimmy G. Trey Lance has a long way to go. Does he get there? I have no idea. Nick Bosa is a freak of nature. And he's starting to heat up. And when he gets hot, he's a wrecking ball. And their defense with Greenlaw and company, really good. Their receivers are good. Offensive line's getting healthier, getting better. And Jimmy G's just a better quarterback right now than Trey Lance. Trey Lance has a lot of upside. But just like the stock market, you can lose your ass on upside. What we learned from the Bengals and the Dolphins. Dolphins, severely overrated. I told y'all I picked the Bengals to win this game. I said the Bengals are getting back on track. The Dolphins are a fraud. They're a sham. I like what they're doing. It's great for Mike McDaniels and all, but the quarterback's just not good enough. Not banging on him. He got hurt. That was horrible. Hope he gets better, but he just can't hold up. The guy's small. You got Justin Herbert getting hurt, and he's big. Cam Newton took a beating. He's big. Josh Allen needs to stop taking a beating. No matter how big they are, Allen and Cam Newton 6'5", Herbert 6'6", 240 plus, and they're still wearing down. Take a guy 6 foot, little over $200. No, sorry, it's not going to happen. Burrow can wear down. That's why I tried to fix their offensive line. And he's 6'4", 220 something. Tua is not that big. Never going to get that big. So Dolphins got exposed. Not as good as we thought they were, which I never bought the hype. I know a lot of people did. I was never high on the Dolphins. They beat up on a weak Patriots team. Won a couple other games. The Bills made more mistakes. The Bills gave them that game. I don't care what anybody says. You watch that game, the Bills handed them and gift wrapped it and put a bow on top for them. The Bills had plenty of opportunities to walk away from the Dolphins and separate in that game. So, no, I wasn't high on the Dolphins. And my point was proven. They're a fraud. They'll make the playoffs maybe, and that'll be it. They'll be one and done. So, Vikings and Saints. Vikings are good as long as it's not prime time. The Saints are horrible. Who in the hell thought the Saints were going to be great this year, win the division, and win the Super Bowl? Have you lost your mind? I wish Jameis Winston would get his career together. It's not happening. It's too late for Winston. He's gotten into too many bad habits. He can't get it out of his own head. It just isn't working. Didn't trust the coach anyway, Dennis Allen. The Saints, they're going nowhere, just like I said. The Saints are going nowhere. They're rebuilding. They'll draft their quarterback next year. Maybe have a new head coach. Maybe Sean Payton comes back. Who knows? Saints got a lot of issues. They're going to have a top 10 pick next year. They're going to draft their future signal caller. The Vikings will have to draft their quarterback next year. Kirk Cousins might get him to the playoffs, might get him a little farther. Everything's really going to have to mesh just right for him to win a Super Bowl. I don't know that happens, but I like the Vikings a hell of a lot better than the Saints. The Saints are a fraud. It is what it is. Tissues to those who picked the Saints to win the division, because it ain't happening. And their defense isn't as good without Trey Hendrickson as they thought it would be. So, Seahawks and Lions. Lions are banged up. But when they get healthy, they possibly are a playoff team or at least above 500. I'm going to say they're above 500 this year. I'm not going to go as far as to pick them to make the playoffs. But I wouldn't be surprised. That team has a lot of toughness. And while the Seahawks beat them, Aiden Hutchinson was hurt. Amon-Ra St. Brown was hurt. A lot of guys were hurt. So injuries took their toll on them this time. They'll be better. The Seahawks, what we learned about them? Whoop-de. You beat the Lions. Congratulations. What do you want, a cookie? Seahawks are going nowhere. They turned back into Magic Pumpkin at midnight in Cinderella. They're the Sea Chickens again. They're rebuilding. Deal with it. You're not winning the Super Bowl this year with Geno Smith. No chance. Not even a long shot. It's not written anywhere. Sorry. You're going to be drafting your future signal caller next year, whether that's Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, whoever it might be. But you're going to be drafting your quarterback in the future next year. Geno Smith is not your future. He's not even a great bridge quarterback. Now, I give you credit. You took advantage of a beat-up Lions team. But they gave you everything you could handle. And they really should have won that game. A couple plays go the other way, they win that game. So, Seahawks, don't get too excited. Jets, Steelers. I thought the Steelers were going to be better. Their offensive line's not working. Kenny Pickett struggled. But who wouldn't behind that offensive line? It's hot trash. Something else we learned about the Steelers, they relied way too much on T.J. Watt. You take T.J. Watt off that defense, they're garbage. They're absolute hot trash. Cam Hayward's getting up there in age. He's not what he used to be. Deion Bush just hasn't worked out. So on and so forth. Not as good as advertised without T.J. Watt. He brings something nobody else on defense has. It is what it is. The offensive line is awful right now. Maybe they can fix it. Maybe they make a trade before the trade deadline. I don't know. But you better, because Kenny Pickett's going to get beat up behind that O-line. And he's a good young quarterback. I love their receivers, their tight end, their running back, Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, all those guys. But you better get offensive line figured out this year in the draft or something, because it's going to be a long haul. Free agency, whatever. The Jets. They're better with Zach Wilson than they are Joe Flacco. Zach Wilson has a shot. He made the difference. Honestly, if Joe Flacco played in this game, he probably would have lost. Their offense is going to get better. Defense struggling, but Ahmad Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, all those guys, Quentin Williams, they're going to be fine. They're going to get better through free agency and draft next year. Offensive line, you're going to have to make a decision on Mekhi Becton. He can't stay healthy, and he's just not that good. Maybe you call it a bust and just move on, trade him, whatever the case may be. But you got to figure out your offensive line and your tackle position next year. What we learned from Giants and the Bears. The Giants rebounded. The new coach, Brian Daboll, has changed the culture in New York. Last year, the year before that, they lose a game to the Cowboys that they should have won. Or another big game they were hyped up to win. They fall apart. They keep losing. They can't pull it back together. They rebounded. They beat the Bears. They beat the team they were supposed to beat. They beat the team they needed to beat and had to beat. You could not sit there and say, we changed the culture and lose to the Bears. It was no scenario where you can do that. The Bears, they're in trouble. Justin Fields' career could be short-lived. He could be moving on. The kid needs help. They didn't do it this year. I don't know if they're going to do it next year. defensive-minded coach, I don't know if he likes his quarterback. I don't know. But it's unfair to Justin Fields. It's a shame. When they picked him to go to Bears, I'm like, the kid's screwed. They've never done well with quarterbacks. And that trend just seems to be a curse or a continuance. I don't know. Maybe it's like the Cubs, and they finally break the curse with Justin Fields. But in order to do that, they're going to have to do a lot of building around this kid. If they don't, he's going to get killed. He's going to get absolutely demoralized. And that I don't want that to happen. So I'm hoping next year they really go into draft and free agency and build around this kid. But we'll see. It's the Bears. So the Bears. The Colts, Titans. What we learned about the Colts? They're fraud. Frank Reich, fraud. The general manager, fraud. Matt Ryan, maybe fraud. Maybe he's just done. I love Matt Ryan. Loved him coming out of Boston College. Matty Ice to the Falcons. Completely turned that franchise around after the Michael Vick debacle and the coach running off to college football and quitting on the team. All the nonsense those fans had to put up with and all the hot trash and garbage and sewage. Felt good, feel good story. Sadly, they didn't win the Super Bowl against the Patriots. It'd have been nice to see Matty Ice get a Super Bowl and Dan Quinn and company. It just didn't happen. The Colts, they get a win against the Chiefs that they had no business winning. And the Chiefs pretty much gave them that game, and then they come back to the Titans and get their butts kicked by the Titans. So, remember the Titans? I guess I'm going to have to now. But the Colts, they're a fraud. I'm not picking them to win a division. Hell, it might even be Jacksonville wins this division. The Colts are a fraud. The Titans, maybe they win the division, maybe not. I still think they're too weak. I think Jacksonville maybe wins this division now. They're the better team in the division. The Titans haven't shown me much of nothing. The only thing they showed me is they got fight in them, and they got a good head coach. So that's something. That might be enough. Quarterback's not good enough. Offensive line's not quite good enough. Derrick Henry's starting to lose gas. He's almost running on empty. Defense not as good as it once was. We'll see. Maybe they prove me wrong. Chargers and Texans. Justin Herbert, one of the toughest quarterbacks in the league. One of the best young rising stars. They're above 500 now. They get back off the losing trend. The Chargers are still going to be in it. They could very well win this division once they get healthy again. They've been banged up again. Once Slater, I think he's on IR, so he's not coming back, which is sad. But I think they're good enough to still possibly win this division. Herbert's amazing. They beat a team they should have beat. It is what it is. I like the Chargers still. We'll see how healthy they get. The Texans, I'll have to look at their schedule again. I don't know when they're going to win a game, but they're awful. And Davis Mills, despite all that he can do, can't do enough to win them a game yet. I think they will win some games. It's going to be a long season. They might be looking for another quarterback next year. Maybe they try to trade Davis Mills. I think he's a good quarterback and legit franchise guy. Maybe not for the Houston Texans. We'll see. But right now you're sitting at 0-4. Playoffs are done for you. I think I picked them to win the division. I was wrong. They just haven't been able to get over that hump. I think they will at some point. I just don't know when. I will have to revisit their schedule, and see if I can find some wins on their schedule. Browns, Falcons. Starting to believe the hype with the Browns. What we learned about the Browns. I don't know. They're not a playoff team. They're not going to beat the Bengals or the Ravens out for this division. Bengals and Ravens are head and shoulders above the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They might split a division games with those two teams, but they're not walking away with this division by any means. You lost to the Falcons, for crying out loud. You had one job, one damn job. And you couldn't do. I know it was in hot Atlanta, but come on, man. Jacoby Brissett will win you some games. He's not good enough to get you to the playoffs and to a Super Bowl. Browns, you're back to being the Browns once again, a dysfunctional, hot trash organization with a hot trash owner. Sorry. Facts are facts. Falcons, they're going to be a little better. They're not going to be a playoff team. They're not taking that division from the Bucs in any way, shape, or form. Panthers and Saints are still good enough to keep them at the bottom of this division, but they're going to be a tough out. They've got fight in them. Now, if Desmond Ridder can come along quick enough, maybe he's their franchise guy. Maybe we're talking about them drafting in the top 10 next year and getting their actual franchise quarterback. But the Falcons better than we thought they'd be, and they're only going to get better. They got 2 young stud receivers / tight end receiver. Offensive line looks better. They need some work on that still, but they've got a shot. Cowboys and Commanders. What did we learn about the Commanders? I thought there was a chance they could win the division after the first game of the season. I said, wow, Ron Rivera's got his quarterback. Wentz is going to turn around. Wow, was I wrong. Holy moly. What a difference 3 weeks makes. They're hot trash. They're going nowhere. They're going to be at the bottom of the division once again. They're not competing with Dallas, Philly, and New York. New York bounced back. Excuse me. Philly's 4-0. I still think they're not as good as they're hyped up to be. Dallas 3-1 without Dak. New York Giants 3-1 with Danny, brother, can you spare a dime? Dollar Tree Danny, whatever you want to call him. Washington has no shot. They're a fraud. Ron Rivera's back to being Titanic Ron, Riverboat Ron, whatever you want to call him. They're a fraud. Wynn's career could very well be over. Maybe they turn around. I don't see where they turn around at. The Cowboys. As a Cowboys fan, it scares me to death. I want to buy in. I want to take a bite of that burger that I've never tried. But I'm scared because the person who made the burger is none other than Jerry Jones. And I'm afraid I'm going to get food poisoning. I love what they've done, but are they going to continue that with Dak, or are they going to go back to being the same old dummies with the coaching scheme? Are they going to help Dak? Are they going to hurt Dak? I don't know. We'll see what happens against the Rams. Rams are going to be mighty pissed off. I don't know who I'm picking yet, but the Cowboys, a lot better than I thought they'd be, and the defense is amazing. They're making me think about getting a Cowboys jersey and a helmet again. I haven't done it in over 8 years. I might actually make the mistake and fall into the pit again. The pit of snakes. The pit of Jerry Jones Jr. and all the other Jones family. Oh my gosh. I feel like I got spiders in my hair. Where we learned Jacksonville and the Eagles. Eagles better than I thought they were going to be. I still think they're overhyped. They couldn't run away from the Jaguars. The Jaguars probably should have won that game, what I saw. But the Eagles come back and won. Give them credit. But you let Jacksonville score 21 on you. Second-year quarterback. Not a great offense. Not a great defense. And you only dropped 29 on them. Now, I know Doug Peterson used to be your coach and whatever. But, no. Don't know. The Eagles, I give them credit. They're 4-0. Enjoy it while it lasts. You're not walking away with the division. You're not going to the Super Bowl. I'm not a believer in Hurts, the coach, any of it. Probably just because I hate the effing Eagles. And I don't want them to be great, but yeah. The Jaguars, way better under Doug Peterson than they ever would have been under Urban Meyer. I was a believer in Urban Meyer. Sometimes you get pie on your face. And I got a cow pie on my face. So I beat the drums. Oh, Jaguars got Urban Meyer last year. They're going to be great. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Yeah, Urban Meyer drafted Trevor Lawrence. Duh. What else were you going to do? Huh? You going to take a defensive lineman? An offensive lineman? No, of course you were going to draft Trevor Lawrence. That's a give me. That's the easiest give me in the history of give me's. I said no. The Jaguars, I think they're going to be a lot better. They could win that division. That division is garbage. The Titans ain't walking away with it. The Colts damn sure ain't. And the Texans got to win a game before they're even in the conversation. So, Jaguars might win that division. The Bills and Ravens. Ravens, what we learned about them, they're still a great team. They're still going to be in the thick of it for the AFC North. They're going to be in the playoffs. Lamar's a great quarterback. He's gotten, thank God, somebody's worked on him with his passing. He's throwing the ball more, running less. That's going to prolong his career and hopefully let me be able to watch him for another 10, 15 years instead of watching him degrade like Cam Newton and all the other running quarterbacks that have come before him. That being said, their coach messed up. He needs to adjust and do better. He's better than that. I like John Harbaugh. I love him. They got to get younger next year. We'll see where the Lamar contract goes. Hopefully they can re-sign him. But I can see them going deep in the playoffs. Maybe championship. I don't think they get past Buffalo or Kansas City for the Super Bowl. But I think they can get to a championship game or at least a playoff win or two. I think they're that good. The Bills, they bounce back. They lose a close game against the Dolphins. We're back to that rhetoric. Oh, they can't win the close games, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what, Hoss Cat? They come back and they beat the Ravens. They won a close game. So now that mantra is out the window. The Bills are just as good as we thought they were. They're only going to get better. Josh Allen only going to get better. And they're going to be right in the thick of Super Bowl hunt. Cardinals and Panthers. The Panthers are trash. Matt Rule's done. Baker Mayfield's career is over. They're not that good. They're going to win some games, maybe 500, a little below 500. Not going to be enough to save his job. Not going to be enough to save Baker. And they're going to be drafting a new quarterback and starting fresh next year. Cardinals, they're probably going to be starting fresh next year. You should have blown out the Panthers. With the talent you have, I'm not a believer in Kyler Murray. I'm not a believer in Cliff Kingsbury. I'm definitely not a believer in the general manager, Steve Klein. After the coaching decisions you've made and hiring and all, no, sorry. I'm not a believer in the Cardinals. Congratulations, you won. You're not winning that division. The 49ers and Rams will get better. They'll bounce back. Seattle will give you everything they got. You're probably third or fourth place in that division. So, Broncos, Raiders. I think I already talked about that. Yeah. What we learned about the Raiders, they won a game. I said they're not a bad 0-3 team as we thought they were. They had some close losses. They're going to be better. They could win that division still if they continue winning. Got a big game Thursday night, so we'll see. Packers, Patriots. Patriots are in trouble. It's going to be a long season. They really need to learn how to draft and do better in free agency. They have a lot of building around Mac Jones to do. Love Bailey Zappi. Loved him coming out of Western Kentucky. But they got a lot of work to do. And there y'all finally see maybe, like I said all along, for all these years, it was Brady, not Belichick. Just saying. Packers, normally they lose this kind of game. They had the wherewithal to win it. Offense got a long way to go, but they will get there, I believe. The defense still looks incredible for the most part. Packers are going to be fine. They're going to be in the playoffs. That is what it is. And that is it for week 4. Coming up, do the picks for Thursday night. And then we will do the picks for this coming Sunday, along with some other videos. Trying to get back on that train. Remember, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that. Totally free. Doesn't cost you anything. Goes a long way in helping my channel. And hit that like button as well. Check previous videos for information on the giveaway once we hit 1,000 subscribers. I'll catch you guys on another video.